Set 16 is here! And to celebrate, I'm making a video on how to climb to Masters or your dream rank this set. All of the champions in the video are from set 15, as not everyone will be familiar with the champs in set 16. But don't worry, as the fundamentals of TFT stay largely the same between sets. Now without further ado, welcome to How to Hit Masters. Hello! This video will focus on a lot of the fundamentals of TFT and is geared towards players who want to improve at the game to reach their rank goals in either this set or an upcoming one, so don't worry if you see this video a bit later. The fundamentals are listed in the order of Econ, slamming or itemization, Augment Selection, and positioning, as well as a secret one at the end, which I believe to be the most important fundamental for ranking up. Also, you might have noticed someone standing off to the side of the screen there. That's BOBO. He'll be popping in and out to show you examples and to help you retain the information you gather throughout the video. Let's start with Econ. This is the backbone of your game and arguably the most important fundamental to get down, as everything you do stems from it. Unfortunately, there's a large variety of people that play TFT, and between the gamblers who roll down every round hoping to hit but end up broke by stage 4, and the stock market shareholders who fast 9 every game and end up dying with 90 gold in the bank, there's no way for me to tell you what you're doing wrong without direct coaching. But I can give you some tips. The first one is to get to your gold breakpoints ASAP. The faster the better, as the gold you make from a previous breakpoint will help you get to the next one. In general, you're going to want to hold all your pairs in the first couple minion rounds while reaching as many breakpoints as you can and playing your strongest board. Remember, winning a round grants you 1 gold, so you are allowed to sack 1 Econ for 1 win if it makes the difference. The second one is to think about your game plan and spend your gold to support it. For example, if you're playing a 1-cost Kale Zachary rule, the game plan is to hit your 3 stars and then level up for the rest of your board. So, you want to minimize leveling in exchange for rolling until you hit your 3 stars. Or, if you're playing a fast 8 Yuumi board, you want to play the strongest board you can without dipping too much below 50 gold, then spend it at 4-2 to hit level 8 and roll until you hit Yuumi and Leona 2 to stabilize. Another thing to think about is that gold is more valuable in the early game as you take less damage, so it's more worth it to exchange gold for health then, by say, lost streaking stage 2 rather than lost streaking stage 3. This also means that in the late game, gold loses its value relative to HP as you take a lot more damage. So, spending a lot of gold to stabilize and save HP around stage 4 to 5 is important. Also, try not to keep your gold idle and spend it if it's above 50. Gold spent equates to strength, and if you have idle gold that isn't giving you Econ, you are making yourself weaker for no benefit. And while you may think it's obvious, I've personally coached people up to Plat Elo that have a gold states like this. Next is slamming your items. You are promising yourself great rewards and power once you get biz for your champions, but in reality, you're bleeding yourself out. Think of the item stats as, in this exact situation, if you had item A instead of item B, it would be this % better. In terms of slamming, I like to think about it as item enablers versus item multipliers. Enablers are the important items, the ones that you need to enable your build, namely spell crit and mana items. Think Jewel Gauntlet and Blue Buff for Ahri, or Infinity Edge and Shojin for Kai'Sa. Other enablers to think about are items that you need to build every game. Think Spark or Void Staff for AP, and Even Shroud or Last Whisper for AD. You also want a burn item every game, such as Red Buff, Sunfire, or Morello. Multipliers are items that help with your game plan. Think of stuff like Giant Slayer, Deathblade, Deathcap, or Archangels. The item multipliers are where most of your slamming should happen. The difference in damage between Deathblade and Striker's Flare will most likely be negligible, but the HP difference between when you decided to wait for Deathblade instead of slamming Strikers 5 rounds ago will not. It is also important to keep in mind that you can slam items in regards to enablers as well. Something like Red Buff or Rageblade, for example, could be a substitute for a Blue Buff or Shojin if you're in a pinch. Let's move on to Augment Selection. When you're picking your augments, think about the type of board you want to be playing from your current spot. Augments in general are boosts in power that you can choose from to supplement the weaknesses in your comp in terms of gold, items, or combat strength. Think of it this way: if you're a pirate sick with scurvy, an extra supply run of rum won't help much, but a supply run of lemons and oranges, on the other hand, would cure you. Another thing you should know is the conditions to your augments. Build-A-Bud, for example, is an amazing augment for early win streaking, but it will not guarantee a win streak on its own. You need to have a strong supporting board for it or scout the rest of the lobby because remember, everyone else also gets a prismatic. Another example is picking an Econ augment like Hedge Fund. Be prepared to lose streak and try to make a board to make the most of it, such as Crystal Gambit, or one that can reliably pick off 1 to 2 units per fight. Or maybe you got Vi Hero augment, but you have 2 rods and a tier. Do not click it. Yes, even if it's S tier on TFT Academy. Hero augments are very reliant on having items that support the stronger abilities of the champion to carry the fights, and Vi Hero in particular needs to win streak early in order to farm golden items. You're shooting a movie and you're the coolest guy in town, but you mistimed the explosion, or you placed the camera in the wrong place. The difference between good and bad positioning is like night and day, and oftentimes plays a huge role in whether you win or lose the fight. Now, it's almost impossible to position against all of your opponents at the same time, but it's a numbers game. You played against that Akali player 2 rounds ago, but you haven't fought that cat player in a while? Position against the cat player, but also maybe move your main carry to an awkward spot for the Akali as a failsafe. Also keep in mind the reason you're positioning. You want to win the fight, preserve HP, and gain placements. If you're potentially facing a Crystal Gambit player that's been rolling the lobby after they cashed out, don't position focus on them. Focus on the strongest board that you think you could beat with good positioning. Maybe it's the 1 HP player rolling down every round trying to squeeze out an extra placement. Or that guy whose entire team revolves around 1 unit. Think Yumi Prodigies or Ask Chugs. As a side note, there are a lot of positioning tricks that you can use in your games that can act as little knowledge checks, such as the infamous Akali positioning that gives Akali little chances to target your main carry. This works because Akali's spell range of 4 has her walk up like this, and going 1, 2, 3, 4 onto her con, or walking up here and targeting your Malzahar going 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this positioning can be countered somewhat. If you switch Akali to the A1 slot, she can now target the Yumi going 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's a 50-50 as she can also target the Leona going 1, 2, 3, 4. Other than that, there are some tricks that involve mechanics that don't change much between sets. These are often the 4-cost tanks with big AoE stuns, examples being the set's Jarvan and set 14 Sejuani. You can dodge Jarvans by placing your carries in the corner, like this. Let's say your Malzahar and your Yumi are your main carries. You don't want the Jarvan to stun your Yumi or your Malzahar, so you move units to the middle like this, so the biggest clump is here. No matter where Jarvan is, he will jump towards the middle here, in probably one of these 3 hexes. Same thing over here, he'll jump to like maybe one of these 3 hexes. And he'll never stun your Yumi or Malzahar. Here's one last positioning trick to quickly move your champ last second while scouting. Start by holding the unit with left click, pressing R to scout through boards, hovering the champ where you want it to be repositioned to, and then if you want to go through with it based on how the opponent repositioned, quickly press spacebar and release left click to go back to your board and place the unit. You've set up your board with all your champs, slammed your items, picked the best augments, and positioned like a pro. What's next? Well, it's thinking about the game. This section was originally planned to be called line selection, so you can think about it that way if you want. But it does just boil down to clean up the cobwebs in your head and using your noggin. It's so important to actively think about the game instead of just going on autopilot. The reason I emphasize this so much is because it was the key factor that helped me break through the barrier from being hard-stuck diamond to reaching masters for the first time. It's also probably the most crucial skill for pushing past masters as well. Let me give you some examples of thinking about the game. Starting from 2-1, you have to think about whether you're gonna win streak or lose streak. You got no pairs or 2 stars? Play for a stage 2 loss streak. Look for some Econ augments, maybe look into Crystal Gambit. You got 3 2 stars? Play for a win streak. Look for some combat augments, level up, scout everyone. Next is line selection. Lots of people playing 3-cost reroll? Is there an uncontested one? If 2 players are playing Malz and one's playing Cog, you can go something like Yasuo, Senna, or Ahri. Lots of people playing 4 costs? Pick another 4 cost line or roll earlier at 3-7 or 4-1, in essence, paying 5 gold for better odds. Lots of people starting with Econ augments or playing fast 9? Pick an early reroll line to win early and kill them before they spike, or bleed out into a top 4. Lots of people playing 1 or 2 cost reroll? Try to be more aggressive in stage 2 to save HP. Bleed some HP in stage 3 when they're strong, and win against them in stage 4 with your board value. There's obviously a lot more to it than that. Stuff like thinking about if a B tier comp is really good in your spot and making it S tier. Or even the stuff I already talked about. Which augments to pick, items to slam, if you should sack some Econ to roll a bit on 3-2 to save some HP, who to position against and how to position against them. There's also even more stuff to think about in set 16, with unlockables bringing almost double the amount of champs, as well as all the different ways to unlock them. Overall, actually thinking about the game and not autopiloting is what most of you need to do to get to your dream rank. Now, it might kinda sound like a cop-out answer, but that's really it. To get you started though, try thinking about one thing after every game, no matter if it's a hard-fought first or a fast 8th, about one thing you could have done better and keep it in mind for the next game. And now you know how to hit Masters. Congratulations, here's your certificate.